The Dark Age of Technology, otherwise known simply as the Age of Technology, is the name given to a period of human history which saw a time of unparalleled technological development and scientific advancement. From between the 15th and 25th millennium, humanity's various engineers, scientists, and inventors would give rise to countless wonders, ranging from starships forged from polymorphic alloys to robotic constructs that were both truly sentient and sapient. Sadly, however, the majority of what humanity had created and innovated during this time has been seemingly lost forever, leading to any functioning examples or intact schematics of such technologies being jealously hoarded by those fortunate enough to possess them. Of the many achievements made during the Age of Technology, one of the most important would undoubtedly be the successful development of the warp drive. Prior to this, humanity's ships were limited to sublight speeds, and while this did allow the species to successfully colonize and propagate throughout the Sol system, the very idea of galactic expansion seemed destined to remain a nigh unattainable dream for the human race. However, in M18, humanity would successfully develop its first examples of warp drive technology, which granted ships the ability to achieve faster than light speeds by making controlled jumps through the warp, a parallel dimension comprised entirely of psychic energy. This, as a result, allowed human vessels to embark on journeys that would have normally taken months, years, or even centuries to complete in just a matter of days or weeks. With the eventual discovery of the navigator gene and the subsequent engineering of the abhuman strain of the same name, humanity would become capable of making greater and greater jumps through warp space, allowing the species to begin establishing colonies across the vast expanse of the galaxy. However, with the onset of the Age of Strife, an increase in warp storm activity made long-distance interstellar travel an extremely difficult, if not outright impossible, process, resulting in humanity's various colony worlds becoming separated from one another. It would not be until after the downfall of the Eldari Dominion, which saw the creation of both the Chaos God Slanesh and the warp space rift known as the Eye of Terror, that the tides of the warp would be rendered calm enough for humanity to take to the stars once more. But given the technological leaps and bounds that were achieved prior to the Age of Strife, some have wondered as to whether humanity had not just succeeded in colonizing their own galaxy, but had actually managed to spread beyond the galactic rim and into the great unknown. So is there any evidence to support the notion that humanity could have made it to a neighbouring galaxy during the Dark Age of Technology? To the modern Imperium of Man at least, such a notion would appear to be utterly inconceivable, due to the fact that their ships are heavily reliant on a psychic beacon known as the Astronomicon in order to safely chart a course through warp space. However, it is important to note that humanity during the Dark Age of Technology did not make use of such a beacon, as the Astronomicon itself, as stated within Horus Heresy Book 1, Betrayal, would not be created until after the culmination of the Terran Unification Wars. Indeed, ancient human starships were not only capable of making accurate warp jumps without having to rely on the guiding light of the Astronomicon, but some could even do so without a navigator. This was due to the existence of many highly advanced Auspex and propulsion technologies, with one such example, as detailed within Rogue Trader Into the Storm, being a device known as a Void Abacus. These abaci could not only safely and accurately guide ships through the warp, but were capable of covering 4 to 5 times the distance when compared to those ships guided exclusively by a navigator. Because of this, it's not entirely unreasonable to assume that any Dark Age colony ships, assuming that they were outfitted with technologies similar to that of the aforementioned Void Abacus, could have successfully embarked on a mission to colonize another galaxy, possibly even doing so in just a matter of decades, as opposed to such a journey taking centuries or even millennia to complete. But the strongest piece of evidence to support the idea of humanity having journeyed to other galaxies comes from the novel Death of Integrity. In 887 M39, the Nova Marines and Blood Drinkers chapters of the Adeptus Astartes would conduct a joint operation in order to purge a Space Hulk which had been designated the Death of Integrity of Genestealer infestation. The two chapters would eventually discover, however, that the core of the Hulk contained within it a fully intact ship from the Dark Age of technology, known as the Spirit of Eternity, whose secrets the tech priests of the Adeptus Mechanicus were eager to plunder. As the leader of the Mechanicus contingent, Magos Vardaman Plosk attempted to access and download the ship's data core, he would draw the ire of the ship's artificial intelligence, which had grown bitter and resentful towards humanity as a whole. The reason for this extreme antipathy was due to the fact that, after experiencing temporal displacement during a warp jump and re-emerging back into real space tens of thousands of years later, the ship's crew, after coming into contact with the Imperium of Man, would be captured, tried, and subsequently executed as heretics, forcing the Spirit of Eternity to flee in order to escape destruction. After hijacking the Magos' combat servitors and shutting down the armor systems of the Astartes that had accompanied Plosk onto the ship so as to render them helpless, the Spirit of Eternity would reveal how it not only sought to free itself from the confines of the Hulk, but also intended to flee the galaxy entirely, as shown with the following quote.
"I do not want you as my slave, degenerate! I want to be away from this warp-poisoned galaxy. The universe is infinite. I would go elsewhere, before the wounds of space-time here present consume all creation. And I do not intend to take any passengers."
In addition, the Spirit of Eternity would also mention how it had accumulated nearly enough fuel for it to reach another galaxy, due to the ship harvesting solar radiation whenever its prison of cosmic flotsam and jetsam drifted close enough to certain stars. Assuming that the ship's AI was indeed being truthful when making such claims, then it would have been easily able to make the journey to Andromeda, the closest neighbouring galaxy to the Milky Way, without needing to stop to refuel. Because the Spirit of Eternity, which for all intents and purposes appeared to be little more than a glorified cargo ship, was confident in its ability to reach another galaxy, then it would be reasonable to assume that other Dark Age vessels would have also been capable of undertaking such a voyage. But even if humanity had embarked on a voyage to another galaxy, there's still a chance, albeit a minor one, that another species native to the Milky Way could have made it there first. In this case, the species most likely to have successfully expanded to another galaxy would appear to be that of the orks. While ork technology is visually very crude and, for lack of a better term, ramshackle, it is undeniably effective, and is in many ways comparable to the sleeker and, arguably, more efficiently designed machinery of other races, such as humans, Eldari, Tau, or otherwise. In addition, orks, generally speaking, lack the inhibitions and hesitancy of other races, and are more likely to act on the spur of the moment as opposed to wasting time weighing up the pros and cons of any particular course of action. In essence, whenever an ork wants to do something, they'll simply do it. As such, should a group of orks decide to travel beyond the galactic rim in search of new enemies to fight or worlds to plunder, then they will find a way to do so, or at the very least attempt to do so before getting bored. What also supports the idea of orks having already expanded into another galaxy comes from the book War the Orks. Roughly 14,000 years ago, circa M27, humanity would construct and deploy a deep space probe that was tasked with exploring the furthermost reaches of the known universe. While the probe itself failed to make its return journey, and presumably never will, it nonetheless continues to transmit weak radio signals back to Terra. However, much to the shock and horror of the tech priests who were tasked with monitoring these transmissions, the majority of the signals relayed by the probe appear to be orkish in nature, implying that orks existed not just within the Milky Way galaxy, but also infested the stars beyond. While this would certainly appear to be undeniable proof that the orks had managed to reach other galaxies, The main problem with this particular piece of information is that when it was reprinted within the 2nd edition Orc Codex, the text therein had been altered to instead replace all instances of the word universe with that of galaxy. As such, while the orcs have no doubt become one of, if not the most widespread species throughout the entire galaxy, the idea of them having traversed far beyond the galactic rim is one that is dubious at best. In either case, with the Milky Way having now been effectively split in two by the creation of the Cicatrix Maledictum, and with the vanguard of High Fleet Leviathan threatening to consume all within its path, if humanity did at some point manage to colonize another galaxy, then they alone may be the sole members of the species with a chance to escape what is a seemingly inevitable extinction. What do you think? Leave a comment below, and thanks for watching.